Hello again, guys. Welcome to another dramatic reading-ish of a creepypasta. Today I decided to do one that was right off the front page of the website, known as The Invitation. And as you notice, I don't have my headset on. The last one was a little quiet, so hopefully you can hear me a little better in this one. I'm not using the little dinky mic I have over there. And let's get right in, shall we? They call him the Hatter. His face is only a rumor. Sorry guys, evidently I'm reading Alice in Wonderland. His body is an urban legend. Okay. But his intentions are always clear. Once the invitation arrives, he will be waiting. Likely with a knowing smile and lashing tongue. Ew. Marcus was an unexceptional man. Hi Marcus, when did you come in? He worked 8 hours a day in some indistinct office, punching numbers, balancing accounts, and taking phone calls. Sounds like a rat guy. He kept to himself, preferring to spend his evenings alone, sinking in a good book rather than the revelries of bars and nightclubs. Sounds like a good guy. He's gonna die. Though he had his eyes set on Janet from accounting, damn it, Janet, Marcus seldom spoke with her, and their relationship was best described as accidental. We're accidentally a couple, by the way. I'm alright with it. Ever a creature of habit, Marcus was a predictable man, always living under an invisibly ticking clock. It's hard to say. He would wake up every morning at 6:30 a.m., never sleeping a minute under or over. He would shave, shower, and cook a simple breakfast of faintly buttered rye toast and coffee. Ooh. 2 slices on his plate, 2 sugars in his coffee, and Marcus was ready to go. He drove to work, clocked in, and stayed in the same place for 8 hours, leaving only to eat lunch or use the bathroom. Hope so. Sometimes his coworkers would drop in for a casual conversation, but this happened with increasing rarity. He'd drive home, change into his pajamas, and cook a simple meal of meat, potatoes, and some greenery if he felt adventurous. For him, excitement and color came through carrots and peas. What the heck? Marcus, you sound like a cool guy, but if excitement is carrots and peas to you, buddy, go outside. Get a game console. Do something. Oi. Then at exactly 11 p.m., Marcus went to sleep, never to rise until the next morning. Marcus was boring, and he liked it that way. Thank you. The Hatter had other plans. I will make you interesting. After a great day at work, Marcus was ready for new reading material. Perhaps his issue of Reader's Digest had arrived, or perhaps his family had sent him an early Christmas card. He needed some entertainment, and with a brisk walk, approached his mailbox. Sure enough, a pile of letters waited for him, and like a vulture with an affinity for milk toast, Marcus scooped these up, taking great care to conceal his treasures from the pouring rain. Dripping and dashing, he gingerly slammed the door shut, unceremoniously tossing his coat over a nearby chair. This is hilarious. Oi. Sadly, it seems Marcus would be met with disappointment this evening. Instead of his favorite magazine or warm greetings, he found bills, advertisements, and one pamphlet about his local congressman several months too early. In the hopes that he had missed something, he flipped through the stack again and again, only to be met in vain. Then he heard the faint swish of a letter landing on the floor. Swish. The Hatter was terribly fond of grand gestures. Yo, wait. Whoa, hold up. Did I skip something? No. It just straight goes from the swish of a letter to the Hatter was terribly fond of grand gestures. And the invitations to his party are always carefully hidden between a whole bunch of pieces of paper. Well hidden. Whether hidden with care or in plain sight, he made sure his potential guests always found their letter in time, and Marcus was no exception. He'd been watching Marcus, and he eagerly awaited his response. XOXO, love you, Mad Hatter. The letter was small, no larger than a Christmas card. It was addressed to Marcus in clear, elaborative cursive, and the return address was his own house. This is the Hatter's way for both the destination and the starting point come together in his plans. Perhaps placing the letter back in the mail can drive off his eye. Perhaps it is another of the Hatter's games. silently mocking his prey as there is no escape. Either way, Marcus opened the letter. It offered no resistance. It longed to be opened. Open me! Inside, he found a simple card embroidered with shapes of red and gold lettering. He saw the shine of golden script on both sides, because I got a golden ticket, and casually turned the invitation over. The reverse side held the date and time, April 14th, 2:31 p.m. Curiously, he glanced at the other side, and there it was in bold print. You should sit. I get it now. It's Willy Wonka. He's inviting him to his factory. He wants him to be the owner. You get nothing! Okay. This phrase is the Hatter's invitation. It is a simple command no more threatening than asking to continue breathing. Keep breathing. No. But to follow the instruction is to answer the Hatter's call, and many fall into this gentle trap. Marcus knew no better and sat down, pondering the strange letter. A single footstep echoed behind him. Perhaps a cup of tea would calm him down. Was he nervous? No, strangely not. He had forgotten his movement to the kitchen, a momentary amnesia as he brewed a steaming pot of Earl Grey. Sponsor! Ding! I lost myself. There it is. As the moist aroma wafted through the room, he felt an intense relaxation. He could hear a faint bubbling amidst the silence of his home, and with each pop an excitement began to overtake him. Perhaps I have been too hasty, he thought to himself. I hardly give my coworkers the time of day. This guy's weird. The gentle flow of hot tea pouring into his mug brought feelings of joyous guilt, and unfamiliar thoughts flew into Marcus's head. I should reach out to them. After all, what harm is a new friend? A silent sip, and a beaming grin crosses his face. In some dark place, the Hatter returned the gesture. Willy Wonka. I sense someone smiled. I'll smile back. The next day, Marcus rose at 6 a.m. He sprung out of bed with an unknown energy. Hey, he only wakes up at 6:30. No, not 1 minute later, not 1 minute early. Something's wrong. He sprung out of bed with an unknown energy. Surely he had been rejuvenated, and his blood felt hot and bubbly. Such an exceptional blend of Earl Grey, he thought to himself. This morning it was eggs and bacon. He didn't remember buying those, but who was he to argue? Yeah, if I woke up and there was eggs and bacon in my fridge, I wouldn't be too upset. At the office, his coworkers found a completely alien Marcus. He went out of his way to ask people how they were doing, hold doors, and tell jokes. So he was a normal guy? Even his boss went along with it, and Marcus became the life of the party. Are they at a party or an office? Office party, maybe? His charm was contagious, and over the course of a month, the stagehand had gone center stage. He knew their names now. Janet, damn it, Janet, I love you. Her sister, Clara, Andrew, Gary, and his boss, Everett. They're all gonna die. Every day he had another cup of tea, often brewing pots for his co-workers. I said that weird. During lulls in paperwork. Lull. Lull. They had grown to love Marcus, and the Hatter enjoyed the show. Who is this guy? He would go out with them, though he cared little for clubs. Instead, he would take his new friends to comedy clubs or invite them to the local theater. He showed them culture, and for reasons unknown, they loved it. What is this? Theater? I love it. Where am I? There it is. All the while, the burning feeling flowed through his veins. One day, Marcus realized something dire. Despite his new friends, he had never invited them to his new home. Even Janet had never seen his home, and no one seemed to notice but him. If I can't read normally, I'm just going to read like a dink. Even Janet had never seen his home, and no one seemed to notice but him. He knew he had to rectify this. During their lunch break, he proposed a classy gathering of olden times. A tea party! His infectious charm did the work for him. and his friends all agreed to such a lovely gesture. Hold on. The quiet guy in the office suddenly becomes happy and outgoing, and he invites everyone over to his house for an old-timey tea party. Don't do it! Oy. And so on April 14th at 2:31 p.m., 5 guests stepped through his door and 6 pairs of footsteps echoed through his home. We're all gonna die. With grand gestures and an elaborate table set, Marcus greeted them, the smile on his face as broad as always. Ever the gentleman, he offered Janet a seat before all else. Aww. And she beamed at how lucky she was. Oh my god, he held my seat. Oh my god. Ah! Then, clasping his hands together, he addressed his friends. You should sit. As they obeyed, they were gone. No longer were they Marcus, nor Janet, nor any other friends. There was only the Hatter, and he had waited long for his entertainment. What is going on? Suddenly, Marcus's grin widened to sickening proportions. Like this. And the guests followed suit. He's smiling. Let's smile too. Janet's sister had come along, and as the guests sat at the dinner table, she placed herself on the dinner table, lying back and sighing. They looked on hungrily, and the Hatter deemed that they should say their prayers before their meal. Then their forks and knives dug into her. What? Severing raw flesh and spurting blood. What? That is... Their gory meal continued, and it devolved into frenzy, with guests forsaking their utensils and biting at her. They shredded her like wild animals, bits of flesh and blood caking to their fine dress and teeth. As she was devoured, they all smiled, including the eviscerated remnants of her sister, an unnatural force keeping her alive until the Hatter deemed she had suffered enough, her mind trapped helpless, and silently screaming within her own body. It got weird. I told you, do not go to the guy's house when he offers you after becoming all happy and giddy. You may die now. As she had her moment to scream, Marcus bit down on her throat. Her shriek devolved into a gurgle. Janet scooped up a severed finger, placing it in her mouth. With inhuman strength, she chewed and swallowed, stifling a giggle. Claire's face inhumanly twisted back into a grin, cracking bone and holding far too wide. She was the Hatter's now. What? Yet the Hatter's party was far from over, and the guests were ready for his party games. Oh no. While Marcus escorted their boss into the kitchen, Janet pounced on Gary, her hands on his throat. She viciously slammed his skull on the floor, holding him down, though they all knew it was too late already. His face draining, Janet slowly eased the fork into each of his eyes, gore and white slime oozing and pouring down his cheeks. All the while, Andrew observed, clapping his hands excitedly. Yay! She got the eyeball! This is weird. Marcus offered his boss a cup of tea. Don't drink it. Still stuffed and dripping from the blood of Janet's sister. Against his will, he smiled. I have to scroll. Hold on. This is just getting weird. Alright. That would be ever so lovely. His consciousness clawed and scraped inside his skull. Please, God, let me go. Let me out. Help me. His screams echoed inside. Help me. Help me. Help. But not a sound could escape. A prisoner in his own mind. Perhaps Marcus could hear his plight. Perhaps not. Either way, he set the kettle on the oven and switched the burner on. As blue flames lapped the no. What? Hold up. As blue flames lapped the no. No, please don't do this, teapot. Oh. Marcus reached for his meat cleaver. Good. As man who regularly dined on meat, just let me go, please, and potatoes nightly, his tools before carving flesh were remarkably advanced. Unfortunately for Everett, their usage today would not be for beef or chicken. When I was saying just let me go please, they literally put no please don't do this and just let me go in the middle of like 2 words. You lost me. You can't be doing clever crap like that with writing. It doesn't work. As the kettle came to a boil, Marcus smiled. He raised the pot above his head, and Andrew's cheering and applause could be heard in the other room. Andrew's just the happy little deepity guy, isn't he? It's getting weird. It got weird a while ago, but it's getting even weirder. Oh boy. Your tea's ready, exclaimed Marcus as he poured the boiling water over Everett's head, searing and peeling away flesh and hair. That's a good thing to start off with. Amused, the Hatter released him, and his screams came free just in time for Marcus's cleaver to strike his chest. The Hatter forced his blow to strike true and strong, and Everett's heart beat for the last time. But time was wasting, and Marcus got returned to his task of severing his former boss's limbs. Oh, alright. Upstairs, Andrew and Janet had made their way to Marcus's bathroom, all the while dragging Gary's body. Andrew's fate, deemed the Hatter, would be the most merciful, and he was the one that was like laughing and all happy, like, yay. Andrew began to fill the bathtub, water sloshing and splashing. He decided that icy cold would be best. And here's another one. Please don't, they didn't do anything. More hot water was far from original. You can't do that, it doesn't work. All the while, Janet gnawed at Gary's neck, her dark appetite not yet sated from her sister. From below, Marcus shouted up, Janet, are you almost done up there? She cupped her hands, glancing into the hall. Yes, I shouldn't be more than a minute. Her internal screams had broken down into uncontrollable sobbing. As she begged for someone to save her, only the Hatter heard. With the tub full of frigid water, Andrew smiled externally. He knew his fate. And look away, for God's sakes, look away. Their terrible host was not yet satisfied. I love those. Ooh, excuse me. I had too much of Clara. Ha! Andrew plunged his head beneath the icy water, and the Hatter released him just in time for Janet's hands to force him further in, pressing his face against the bathtub surface. Aw, Andrew. Arctic waters rushed into his lungs, and each painful gasp only brought more flowing in. Violent bubbles danced to the water's surface, and Janet's lips ran red with ruby droplets. Andrew's screams were little more than a humming whisper, and he heard, Don't do it, please, the same whispering command that had damned Clara. You may die now. His crumpled body draped into the tub. Janet left the 2 bodies behind, making her way downstairs. Marcus was waiting, holding the same teapot he'd seared Everett's flesh with only several minutes before. She smiled, giving a curtsy. Oh, Marcus, this was such a lovely party. I have to scroll now. I don't know if it's over. Shut up! Facebook went off. Last paragraphs. Let's do this. He just kept beaming, raising the pot higher and higher before striking Janet's head with it. She fell to the ground and Marcus loomed over her. He hit her again and again until the pot could take no more. Cast iron, for God's sake, someone help! Crumpling from the repeated impact. A terrible strength poured through Marcus. Leaning down, he kissed what remained of Janet's head gently, and then the Hatter released him. Regaining control of his body, Marcus gripped Janet's hands, holding them one last time. He collapsed into quiet sobs, praying to no one in particular for this to just be an awful dream. He wanted to wake up at 6:30 a.m., sit 8 hours in his cubicle, and know none of them. He just wanted them to be safe again. Then Marcus felt a hand slowly rest on his shoulder. That little girl from the tunnel and the one I read before! Ah! And the Hatter's invitation came again. Like the original letter, it could come from anywhere, and it will always find a way to reach the intended recipient, such as this story. You should sit. actually... Eh. Wow. That one was actually not that bad. Confusing as crap, but not bad. It had some creepiness, it had some disgust, it had a whole bunch of stuff. I'm disturbed. In fact, I'm actually going to be the Hatter very soon, because evidently reading this story means I become him, so. If I invite you for a tea party, don't come over. Bad time. Well, that was that. That was the invitation. If you should receive a letter, and it says it's from someone called the Hatter, don't read it. And don't sit. Can't stress that enough. Oh boy. Alright. I guess I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I want to make. Bye guys.